You ever look at your phone, see a notification, and just sigh? Not because it's bad news, not because it's urgent, just because it exists. Like, oh, great, another thing that wants something from me. If that's you, if even a harmless ping feels like someone poking your already overcooked brain with a stick, then this video isn't just for you. It is you. This isn't a pep talk. This isn't one of those 5 productivity hacks to conquer your morning things. No, this is something deeper. This is about rest, real rest. The kind of rest that doesn't just help you survive the week, it helps you remember who the hell you are. And I know, rest in this economy, in this schedule, in this world where every second you're not hustling feels like you're falling behind. Yeah, that's exactly why we need to talk about it. Because burnout has become so normal, we treat it like background noise. We're all out here trading sleep for productivity like it's some Wall Street deal. We say things like, I'll rest when I'm dead, and laugh like that's not the most tragic punchline ever written. But here's a wild thought. What if resting is the real flex? What if taking care of yourself, not just the surface level kind, but the soul deep nervous system reset kind, isn't weakness? It's wisdom? Let me tell you a story. It's short, but it hit me hard. There was this village where people would carry heavy loads from the mountains down to the valley. The journey was brutal, steep, winding, dangerous. Every day they'd make the trip, heavy baskets on their backs, sore feet on sharp stones. But once in a while, you'd see them just sitting in the middle of the path, not eating, not stretching, just sitting there. When someone asked them what they were doing, they said, "We are waiting for our souls to catch up." You feel that? Because I do. We've been moving so fast, pushing so hard, reacting to everything notifications, responsibilities, even our own inner critic that our soul is somewhere 3 blocks behind us, puffing and panting like, yo, wait up. Now, look, I'm not saying drop everything and run off into the woods and live off grid with nothing but a journal and a squirrel named Greg. I mean, you could, but maybe don't start there. What I am saying is this: rest isn't optional anymore. It's not a cute weekend idea, it's a survival strategy. And not just for your body, but for your clarity, your peace, your relationships, your ability to even like yourself. Think about this. When's the last time you had a full night's sleep and woke up without feeling guilty about it? When's the last time you said no to something that would have drained you and didn't apologize for it? When's the last time you did nothing? Not as a buffer between tasks, not as a reward for hustling hard, but just because you deserve to exist without proving it. Yeah, it's been a while, huh? That's not your fault. We live in a culture that glorifies being tired. We treat overworking like a sport. Hustle harder, sleep less, rise and grind. Drink your coffee black and your emotions repressed. But what if you stopped playing that game? What if you threw down your superhero cape, kicked off your productivity boots, and just rested? Look, I'm not gonna lie. At first, it's gonna feel weird, maybe even wrong. You'll sit there trying to relax, and your brain will start narrating, you should be doing something. This is lazy, you're falling behind. But that voice, that's not your soul talking. That's your burnout talking. That's the voice of a world that forgot what being human actually means. Being human isn't about being efficient. It's not about checking boxes until you collapse. Being human is messy. It's naps and laughter and long walks and crying at random songs and staring at the ceiling while your brain goes, what even is my life? And guess what? That's okay. That's beautiful. That's you. Let's talk about real rest. Not just sleep. Sleep is important, yes. But real rest goes deeper. Real rest is emotional, mental, spiritual. It's saying, I deserve to exist even when I'm not producing. It's catching yourself spiraling and choosing silence over scrolling. It's not needing a reason to say, no thanks, I'm resting. It's choosing peace, even when anxiety is screaming at you to stay busy. You don't have to be broken to justify rest. You don't need a crisis. You don't need permission. You don't need a therapist to diagnose you with chronic people-pleasing fatigue before you let yourself take a breath. You just need to believe, truly believe, that your value isn't measured in effort. Let me tell you a story, a real one, about a guy I know. Let's call him Marcus. Marcus was one of those people who made busy look like a personality trait. Corporate guy. Clean shirts, tighter deadlines. Laptop always open, notifications always popping. Emails with timestamps that make you squint and go, "Why was this sent at 3:47 a.m.?" The man answered Slack messages faster than most people answer texts from their moms. He'd take work calls on date nights. He'd reply to emails while brushing his teeth. He even once joined a Zoom meeting from the bathroom stall at a wedding, and not even his wedding. You get the picture. Hustle culture had Marcus in a chokehold, and he wore it like a badge of honor. Thought rest was something for people who didn't want it bad enough. Thought burnout was just a myth invented by people who couldn't handle the grind. But here's what no one tells you. Burnout doesn't show up with sirens. It doesn't knock down your door. It sneaks in, quietly, softly. One missed call from your mom. One skipped lunch. One sigh that lasts just a little too long. And then another, and then another. For Marcus, it started with little slips. He forgot his mom's birthday, just slipped his mind. He realized it 3 days later and felt this cold, sinking shame. But instead of dealing with it, he buried it under more work. Then came the toothpaste fight, not a metaphor. His partner brought home the wrong toothpaste, peppermint paste instead of mint gel. And Marcus snapped like it was a personal attack on his whole existence. He said things he didn't mean, made it weird, over toothpaste. And then one evening it happened. He was watching TV, not even really watching, just something to fill the silence. Then a dog food commercial came on. One of those tear-jerker ads with a rescue dog finding a forever home. And Marcus broke. Tears. Ugly ones. Like years of bottled-up exhaustion came out all at once, in the shape of a sobbing corporate man watching a golden retriever get adopted. That was the moment. Not a breakdown exactly, more like a quiet unraveling. His body, his mind, his soul, all of it waving a white flag. And right on cue, he got sick. Not serious, but enough. A stress-related thing that forced him to stop. Doctor said, "You need to rest." For a full week, no work, no screens, no nonsense. Marcus tried to argue. He said what we all say, "I can't afford to slow down." But his body had already made the decision for him. So he did something radical. He stopped. He sat on his balcony. The same balcony he'd ignored for years, because he was always too busy. And for the first time in what felt like forever, he just listened to nothing, to the wind, to the birds. One bird in particular kept hopping back every day. He named it Kevin. They had a vibe, and something started to shift. He noticed how different the sky looked when you weren't staring at it through a deadline. He remembered what silence sounded like, what he sounded like. The thoughts that came up weren't urgent, they were honest, like, when did I get so far from myself? He wasn't meditating, he wasn't journaling, he was just being. And that was the medicine. By the end of the week, he wasn't fixed, but he wasn't broken either. He was returning to himself. Not the high-performance, inbox zero version. The real one. The one that laughed more, slept more, breathed better. When he went back to work, people noticed. Noticed his shoulders weren't up around his ears. Noticed he listened more, smiled more. And when someone asked him what changed, he said this thing that stuck with me like duct tape to your soul. Rest didn't slow me down. It brought me back. Let that land for a second. Because maybe that's what you need too. Not another caffeine hack. Not another productivity app. Maybe you don't need to level up. Maybe you need to lie down. Maybe your comeback doesn't start with a grind. Maybe it starts with a nap or a walk. Or just closing your laptop and remembering that you exist outside of your output. You don't have to crash to earn rest. You don't have to cry over a dog food commercial to justify stepping back. You're allowed to rest now, before your body makes you, before your soul sends you a "we miss you" text. You're allowed to breathe, to stop, to sit quietly, and let Kevin the Bird remind you that the world keeps spinning even when you're not spinning with it. And if someone calls you lazy, smile, because resting in a burnout world isn't lazy, it's revolutionary. It's how you remember who you are before you became a machine. So maybe today's the day you stop proving, stop pushing, stop pretending you're invincible, and start listening to the parts of you whispering, I need rest, not later, not when you've earned it. Now, because rest won't slow you down, it'll bring you back.